Boys, there's no UFC this weekend. We have to wait out a whole week until we get the UFC Makhachev versus Poirier. So in the meantime, I have some fighters here that I think are on that secret juice. Not all of them I think is 100% on that secret juice, but there are some definite steroid cheaters in the UFC. If you guys think the UFC is a clean sport, then watching last week's UFC Vegas card should have changed your mind. There was one glaring obvious cheater on that card, and don't worry, I have them here off screen. I have just under 40 different fighters here. I'm gonna bring them all up one by one and put them where they deserve. Starting off, the person I was talking about in last week's UFC card, I'm talking about the Academy Award winning headbutt victim herself, Ariane Karilosi. Now, I just want you to have a quick look at this picture, and I want you guys to tell me, do you think this shit is naturally attainable for any women in the planet? I don't care if you have the best genetics in the world, you will never, ever get bowling ball shoulders like this, get traps the size of mountains. Her arms are bigger than, honestly, 90% of men out there in the world. I think this is an obvious 100% she's on that secret juice. Paulo Costa gave her some secret juice. Aljamain Sterling gave her some acting lessons. 100% this woman is on some steroids. It's so funny to think that people actually believe the UFC is a clean sport, but you guys are going to see a lot of examples up here that there is definitely some steroid usage in the UFC. Let's keep moving on. These are all just random, not in any specific order. Now, before we continue, I totally forgot to mention this. We have 100% secret juice. Second tier popped for something, so they've either taken something unknowingly, maybe they're off it now, but they did pop for some sort of illegal substance. 50-50, pretty self-explanatory. Probably on something and probably clean, all pretty self-explanatory. But let's move on to... Oh, my bad. I was just remembering some of this man's past few fights, and we're talking about, remember the name, Belal Muhammad. I want you guys to search up some pictures of Belal Muhammad a few years ago before he went on a giant winning streak. This man, in his early mid-30s, gained a shit ton of muscle mass and his head expanded double the size of what it used to be. Clear indications of steroids usage. 100% this man is on the secret juice. It's so easy just to see like before and after pictures to see if someone's on steroids, because you can work out as hard as you want. You know, I'd be hitting the gym frequently, but I don't know a single exercise that makes your fucking skull grow. Definitely 100% on the secret juice. Remember the name, Belal Muhammad. Let's keep moving on. Chris Curtis. Now, you guys are probably wondering, why is Chris Curtis on this list? Now, some things you need to look out for steroid usage is, you look at the pecs, you see if one's a little bit more puffy than the other. You look at the shoulders, see if they have any huge like bowling ball shoulders. Clear indication of steroid use, as we can see here on this girl. Secondly, you look at the traps. Do they have mountains for traps? Chris Curtis, on the other hand, I don't know. There's a possibility he's on something, but at the end of the day, this physique could be genetically gifted, but I'm gonna say at that 50-50 range. There's nothing super conclusive in my mind, in my research. You guys have to let me know if I'm missing something on Chris Curtis's end, but I don't think there's anything. Let's keep moving on to the champion of that weight class, Dricus du Plessis. Now, this picture is kind of hiding some of the things I was mentioning before. The shoulders, the traps. Another thing you can look for, especially when you take human growth hormone, you get HGH gut. Michael Chandler has it terribly. But again, same thing with Dricus. There's nothing glaring obvious. I'm going to put him at probably on something. There's nothing like concrete where I have to be like, yeah, this guy's definitely on something, but he's probably on something. Moving on to Edson Barboza. We just saw him in the last week's main event, and this guy, although he doesn't look like it, he is definitely on the secret juice. There was a transformation picture he posted not too long ago. Let me remind you guys, this guy is in his 30s, and he posted a transformation photo as soon as you saw the left, and man got built, especially in the shoulders, a little bit in the traps, but definitely way more muscular, way more cut, way bigger shoulders than he had previously. I'm confident that this man is on something, even though he didn't look that great last weekend. But that's why I picked him to win last weekend. But again, Father Time catches everyone. Let's keep moving on to Jailton Almeida. Now, this picture of Jailton Almeida, not the most flattering, he doesn't look the cuttest out of anyone, but same thing with Chris Curtis. Look at some pictures of Jailton Almeida. This man is a freak. You can see how big his trap is just right here, a clear indication of steroid usage. If you guys don't know, when you take steroids, usually the traps in the shoulders are very acceptable and are some of the muscles that blow up when you're on steroids. So I'm going to, again, put him 50-50. Probably a little bit more than Chris Curtis, to be honest. Keep moving down. Gilbert Dorino Burns. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't think he's on anything. He's probably clean. Let's be honest. He doesn't look that defined compared to everyone else. He was a lightweight. He moved up in weight. He's just a little bit more thicker now. We don't see any crazy shoulder definition. Nothing really on the traps, it looks like. No titty out of nowhere. No big gut or anything. I think he's probably clean, to be honest. There hasn't been any red flags to be like, yeah, Gilbert is definitely on something. But that being said, moving down to Joaquin Buckley. Now, Buckley, on the other hand, an absolute giant in there, getting compared to Mike Tyson. He's just absolutely huge in the octagon. Now, he doesn't look super big shoulder-wise. Now, I don't think he's like 100% on the secret juice. I don't think he's popped for anything, not that I know of, but 50-50 in my opinion. He's more than Chris Curtis in my opinion. Let's move over to someone who's 100% on that secret juice. The CEO of EPO, Kamaru Usman. Again, look at the picture of him flexing on the cage. I believe when he knocked out Jorge Masvidal. You cannot tell me that man is natural one bit. There's too many outside factors for Kamaru Usman. The fact that his dad went to jail for being a corrupt pharmacist. The fact that it looks like he has like pin needles in his stomach. The fact that his shoulders and his traps are huge. Too many things. Let's move over to someone who popped. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Marvin Vettori, he's popped before. Search it up, so he's definitely going into this category. Now, do I think he intentionally cheated? I think it was just an accident, to be honest. Marvin Vettori, not the smartest man in the world. I think it was an accident. He didn't even know what happened. Let's keep moving on to, again, someone who just recently, I think, entered that 100% secret juice section. You guys can tell just right away by how big and capped his delts are. Jared Cannonier. Now, you guys might be forgetting his latest fight, but out of nowhere, this man had stamina for days. He had non-stop cardio. He threw non-stop. If you guys forget his last fight, go rewatch it. He took a page out of Kamaru Usman's book and might be on some EPO. His output was insane in that fight. And yeah, just completely different than the Jared Cannonier that we've ever saw. Again, in his 30s, he's not making dramatic improvements at that age. Definitely outside help. Does it matter what the order is for the 100% on secret juice? No, to be honest. But for funds, let's say who's taking the most shit. I'm probably going to go here. Honestly, Carolina might be first, then Jared. And then this is good so far. Moving on to another man, 100% on that secret juice. Probably going to go above Barboza. We have Josh Emmett. Now, Josh Emmett is a perfect example of HGH gut. Now, that's human growth hormone gut. Very, very typical to see the gut of someone who is abusing human growth hormone be very blocky and almost like a bubble gut. Joe Rogan has this very bad as well, but Josh Emmett has it extremely bad as well. And yeah, something that's not like naturally occurring, something that's not in the family, definitely something that is caused by taking steroids, specifically human growth hormone. Let's move over to, honestly, someone who I think might be on something. Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. I don't know, it might be like some bad substance that's, maybe a fat burner, something like that. Because the fact that Paddy Pimblett can go from being morbidly obese in the off season, then cutting down weight back to 155 to make weight in honestly what feels like only a few weeks, maybe like 7 weeks, is crazy. I think he's probably on something. There's no like definite proof that he's like 50-50 or anything. This is just me speculating. But yeah, just very sus how fast this man can lose that weight. But let's move over to the owner of Secret Juice, Paulo Costa. Again, look at the fucking shoulders on this guy. Extremely capped. He's made his whole career just pretty much admitting he's on steroids and making like light of it. Definitely going into that third category. Honestly, fuck it. He's the owner of Secret Juice. It's only fair to put him first. Let's go to someone who just recently popped. but I think he's on way more shit than what he let on. That is Khalil Roundtree. He just popped for something that he said was an accident, so he's out of the 303 fight against Jamal Hill. And yeah, this man is just unnaturally jacked, but he just recently popped. Moving on, someone who else I think is most likely 100% on that secret juice. I'm going Michael Chandler. Now, when you look at him compared to some of these other guys, you know, the caps aren't as rounded as someone like a Jared Cannonier or even Carolina. You know, the traps, nothing that significant. But, again, look at Josh Emmett. He doesn't have the traps. He doesn't have the shoulders. But they both have that human growth hormone gut. Just sticks out like crazy. He literally looks like a Lego character because his stomach is so blocky. And yeah, definitely a huge sign of human growth hormone effect. Let's keep moving on, though, to Zhang Wei Li. Now, I want to put her at 100%, but maybe I'm being a little bit biased. I'm going to put her at way the top of 50-50. She's not as capped as Carolina, but when you look at her, she has the cap delts. She has some pretty big traps. So I'll put her at the end, maybe a little bit. I'll put her at the end of 100% secret juice because, again, this is so unrealistic for a woman to achieve naturally. So for that reason, we're putting 100% secret juice. Moving over, again, you guys might not know this, but someone else who popped for something, Sean O'Malley. A lot of the newer fans probably don't know this, but Sean O'Malley has been in the UFC for a hot minute now. But man had to take some time off because he got suspended for banned substances for a good chunk. If you guys remember the lead up of him coming back, the whole lead up was he got suspended for taking a banned substance, and you know, he's back now. He's been training. He hasn't stopped training since that. Do I believe that he took it knowingly? No, I think this is an actual case of unknowingly taking a banned substance, much like a Marvin Vettori. But regardless, already popped or something, so he goes in this category. Let's keep moving over to Cyril Gane. Now, when you look at Cyril Gane, he doesn't have anything super noticeable about him. His shoulders aren't that capped. His traps, you know, look pretty normal for a heavyweight. He's probably on something, but maybe he's just blessed with really good genetics. Nothing really red flaggish about it. I'll probably put him around here, to be honest, but yeah, maybe just super gifted in his genetics. But notice the difference between his shoulder right here and someone like Apollo Costa's, how it's so symmetrical. It's super capped. It's literally like a circle in his shoulder. Notice how it's not so much here. But again, we never really know. He could be on different stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be steroids. We have to remember that Lance Armstrong was on steroids, but he was a tiny little twig. So not all steroids are muscle building, which we will get into some of these other guys. But let's move over to perfect example, Aljamain Sterling. I don't know if he's popped or anything, but this man, I don't want to put him 100% because I don't know if it's 100%, but 50-50. This man might be on EPO. Super great cardio, can go takedown for takedown for takedown, much like his friend Merab, who we will be seeing on this list. Will he share that 50-50 slot with him? Guess you're going to have to find out. But if I had to guess, this man's probably on, you know, I could see some kind of steroid usage because of these shoulders are pretty capped, but more likely than not, it's going to be some kind of EPO or stamina booster. But let's keep moving over. Lightweight division. Drew Dober, look at the cap delts already. Shoulders pretty jacked. This man might just have some blessed genetics, but we're putting him at that 50-50 slot. Let's move over to Tisrael Adesanya, the man who grew a random titty out of nowhere in his fight for Paulo Costa. This man's on the sauce, guys. 100% on the secret juice. You don't just randomly grow a tit out of nowhere. You don't randomly get knockout power out of nowhere. And you 100% don't randomly get a fucking left titty from smoking too much weed. Or else we would see both of the Diaz brothers here with the longest, saggiest tit in the world. So, Israel Adesanya, 100% on that secret juice. Let's move over to, you know, the women up here. They're all 100%. Let's keep that train going. Holly Holm. She doesn't look that flattering here, but you have to remember, she's like 40 years old. Back in the day, when she was, I guess, at her prime, you could say, this woman was jacked. Super unrealistic for a woman to ever get that kind of muscle mass. I'm going to put her at like around that same spot with Wei Li. Again, right now, not that most flattering of a picture. She is getting older. Maybe she's hopping off the gear at this point. But back in her prime, that woman was a woman, if you know what I mean. But let's keep moving on. Again, you guys probably don't know about this one, but Islam popped hot before. He tested positive for meldonium. Not sure what that shit is. It's a banned substance in the UFC, so he popped regardless of what it was, if he knew better, if he knew it was even in there, if it was the same story as Sean O'Malley, but regardless, popped hot for something. Now, a blatant steroid cheater in the UFC. Another woman, we have Jessica Andrade. You guys are probably waiting for this one. When you think of a steroid user in the women's division, you probably think of Jessica Andrade. This woman doesn't have like the most impressive shoulders or anything, but her traps are literally as big, if not bigger, than Carolina's. Huge, definitely 100% on that secret juice. Keep moving on. I mentioned this guy a little bit earlier. Someone who I think more than everyone else is about that 50-50. Merab, definitely on EPO. The fact that he can go for like 100 takedown attempts in a fight, that shit is just unnatural level of cardio. I don't care if you run every single second of every single day. I want to put him on that 100% secret juice, but at the end of the day, we don't have that much evidence. Fuck, I did say it's unnatural. I'm putting him at 100% secret juice. Let's move over to someone who I think is, I think he took something in the past before he got signed to the UFC. Right now, he's probably still on something, and that is Shara Bullet. Look at pictures of this guy before he got signed to the UFC. He was a mass monster. His shoulders, his traps exploded in size. He got to the UFC, he looked a little soft and pudgy. I think he went off the stuff he was taking on the regional scene. But regardless, he might still be on something. Probably around like this point, to be honest, but definitely a huge loss of muscle mass since joining the UFC. Moving on, we have another one who's probably on it, Umar Nurmagomedov. Feels like a lot of these Dagestani fighters are, cheating the system a little bit. I'm gonna put him a little bit above Paddy Pimblett, but he's probably on something. Don't have like significant data to say like, yeah, this man's 100% on something, but I'm a little sus of this man. Definitely a little bit suspicious. Shit ton of favoritism in the UFC too, giving him a Corey Sandhagen fight. And I wouldn't be surprised if the UFC is also like, here, take this, take that. We'll keep it under wraps for you. But moving on, we have Valentina Shevchenko. I'm going to put her on the lower end of 50-50, She doesn't have anything. Actually, I think I'm going to put her on the high end of probably something. There's no definite proof of anything. To be honest, her physique is pretty attainable for a woman if they're on the right diet, have the right genetics. It is attainable. She really only have the abs. Shoulders aren't anything too crazy. But yeah, probably on something, in my opinion. Nothing too concrete to say, yeah, she's 50-50 or 100% on the secret juice. As far as I know, I don't think she's popped for anything. But speaking of someone popping for something, we have the man who popped numerous times, probably still on that stuff. I'm going to put him right behind Paulo Costa. I was just going to put him in the probably popped, but I think he's way higher than that. John Jones, is there anything that we need to say? We know this man is a serial cheater. And yeah, again, really nothing we need to say about John Jones. We know this man is a cheater. And yet again, UFC is rewarding him with a Stipe fight. Super easy, favorable matchup. I don't know why they're protecting John Jones so much. But moving over to another person who's 100% on something. We have Kayla Harrison. If you guys didn't watch UFC 300, what are you doing? If you didn't watch this fight, what are you doing? This girl is unnaturally big. Honestly, most guys couldn't naturally achieve her physique. This woman's definitely on something. Way more than Carolina. Probably more than Izzy at this point. I don't know what the hell she's putting in her system. She's putting some of that Captain America serum in her, but she's jacked for this weight class. Just jacked for a woman in general. And yeah, 100% on something. Keep moving down. Victor Petrino. It's about 50-50, Nothing too crazy. He's a new guy on the scene. Certain angles you can definitely see more roundedness in his shoulders, but he's 50-50 in my opinion. Nothing too dramatic, but certain angles, like I said, do show way bigger shoulders, way bigger traps, but again, could be blessed genetically. But right now, 50-50, new guy on the block. We'll see how much he progresses. To move over to someone who, out of nowhere just got one-shot knockout power in the later end of his career. Talk about Max Holloway. Is anyone else a little suspicious on how Max Holloway just randomly got knockout power out of nowhere? Because I am. Does that mean he's on something? No. He's probably clean, to be honest. Other than just the random knockout power, there's really nothing else you can say about him, but it's a little bit suspicious that, randomly got knockout power, but maybe that's just like dad strength. Maybe that's just getting older, getting that old man strength. Who knows? But it is a little bit weird that he just randomly can drop Gaethje cold. He can one-shot knock out the Korean Zombie. But regardless, again, maybe it's just old man strength catching up to him. But last one on the list, we have Muhammad Usman. Now, Kamaru Usman's brother. It's a no-brainer why he would be on the 100% secret juice. Look how big this man's traps are. Yes, he's a heavyweight, but regardless, this man's trap is the size of his neck. Doesn't even look like this man has a damn neck. It's just nothing but traps. Clear steroid usage here. Again, Kamaru Usman's brother. Let's be realistic. Both of these men. If this man's taking it, best believe his brother's also taking it. And yeah, that's everyone I have on this list. Let me know. I honestly probably forgot someone. Let me know if there's anyone I forgot. I didn't put any old-time fighters. I only put active fighters. I know I don't have Conor McGregor here. I don't know where he is. I swear I downloaded him to put onto here. But if I had to put Conor McGregor, I would probably put him at 50-50 at this point. We know he was on something. He would have popped, but he went out of the testing program because he was on something. But as of right now, 50-50, he's still taking something. But he is adamantly very against steroid usage. So I would honestly put him at probably on something. But with that being said, let me know how I did on this tier list. Did I get this shit right or did I get this shit wrong? Would you guys change the order of some of these guys? I think this is perfect. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching to the end of the video. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so you never miss any of my newest videos. And yeah, there's really not that much else left to say except for I will see you guys in my next video.